Subject name is cryptography and network security. Subject code is 18 ECS 243. As the name itself explains, there are two concepts are there in this subject. One is a cryptography, another one is a network security. Basically, cryptography is related to sending a data as an encrypted message, and also read about different types of algorithms which are comes under encryption of the particular plain text or the information what we are sending. So in under cryptography, you have a module one. Module one covers introduction as well as the symmetric ciphers. Module two, RSA algorithm, Diffie-Hellman, these things are considered. And module three is related to pseudorandom sequence, which is generated for hash encoding and all. And also module 4 is particularly related to hash encryption. Okay, digital signature related things are discussed in under the module 4. Module 5 is the part of network security, where they discuss about the email security, right? Like SMIME technologies, and also IP security, why that and the web security that you see. So IP security is all related to how do you encrypt the particular packet while sending the data. And web security, nowadays, if you are observing HTTPS and all, those kind of details are discussed in module 5. So these are all the main subjects, main textbooks actually. William Stallings, Cryptography and Network Security Principles and Practices. Basically, this book covers most of the modules. And Applied Cryptography Protocols, Algorithm and Source Code in C by Bruce Skinner. This is also one of the very good book. Both are very good actually. And so in the second book, the author is written the description about the topics as if he is speaking. Okay. So this is the topic from the first chapter. Basically, you are going to learn some of the basics. Foundation is all about basics. Most of the things you will be knowing. And also, you'll give an introduction to symmetric ciphers. Some of like one Fiestel cipher you're going to learn in traditional block cipher. And also DES encryption standard as well as AES. AES, full detail analysis of the AES is there in the module 1. Okay. Let's start with this module. Okay, the foundation part of it. Basically, what you will be having is the sender and the receiver in cryptography, right? Sender wants to send the message securely. Sender wants to make sure eavesdropper cannot read the message. So two things are very important. One thing is nobody should read the message. Okay, in between, if you are sending information from sender to receiver, nobody should read the message in between. Okay, you wanted to send the message securely. And the second is a eavesdropper is nothing but like the person who attacks the information, or the person who wants to know what is that information is all about. And somebody should not come in between to manipulate. Those things are very important. Let's start with this, some of the terminologies which is used. See, message, what you want to send is a plain text. Okay, it's called as a plain text. The process of disguising a message in such a way as to hide its substance is encryption. That means you are going to disguise the message. That means that suppose if you want to send it as ABCD, suppose if you want to send as ABCD, A you are coding as 1, B as 2. So instead of sending ABCD, you will be sending 1, 2, 3, 4. So what happens is this process is called as a encryption. Okay, disguising a message. You are not sending the actual message, you are disguising it. That is a encryption. The encrypted message is ciphertext. That means output of encryption is ciphertext. So exactly opposite to the encryption, you will be having a decryption. So two main things here. One is a plain text, another one is a ciphertext. Okay, plain text is the actual message. After encryption, what you get is a ciphertext. Okay, cryptographer. is an art and science of keeping messages secure in cryptography. It's basically it's nothing but art is basically because you'll use some of the tactics so that uh, attacker should not encrypt the or decrypt the particular information which you are sending. Suppose what you did is maybe you'll be using a very simple mathematics and you are making the things complicated for everyone. Like in Diffie-Hellman and all, they used a simple logarithmic scale, okay? And what they will be telling is even if you use all the computation power in the world, you may need another 100 to 1000 years to decrypt the message. So that is like using a simple mathematic operation, you are making the things more complicated, okay? That is an art, right? So and the science, right? Encryption and how to generate the key and all those things. So it's an art and science. The person who practice that is a cryptographers, okay? Cryptography practitioners or cryptographers. Cryptanalyst is one more term. The art and science of breaking the breaking the cipher text is a cryptanalyst. Okay, the person who breaks it is a cryptanalyst. Maybe almost all the time, an attacker will not do it. Sometimes company will pay some of the persons to break their own algorithm which is created by them in such a way. So what it does is, if there is any simple things to be tuned, they'll tune it from the feedback of the cryptanalyst. So it can be used as in a positive sense also. So M is the capital M is a message. Generally, message is represented by the capital M. E of M is nothing but encryption of the message. E refers to encryption of the message. After the encryption of the message, whatever you get is a ciphertext, C. So next line is nothing but decryption of the message, right? You'll be having a decryption of the ciphertext. So you'll get back the message. This is the sender end. You're sending the message by encrypting. You're sending like this. Once he receives C, he decrypts it and he'll get the message. So if you combine these two, what happens? Encryption of the message. The whole thing is C. So D of C is nothing but YAM. Okay. And three terminologies. Okay. Authentication, integrity, and non-repudiation. So authentication, okay. Authentication is nothing but, suppose if you are sending information to the user two, or you are sending information to your friend knows that you are only sending. That is the meaning of authentication, okay. If your sender knows that, if your friend knows that you are only sending the message, that is the meaning of authentication. Generally, you use the digital signature and all these things to authenticate. Integrity, it should be possible for a receiver of the message to verify that it is not modified in the transit. That is integrity. So you have a confidence that nobody comes in between to modify the message. That is integrity. Non-repudiation, okay. A sender should not be able to falsely deny later that he sent a message. So assume that I'll be sending a message so the receiver will receive the message, okay. I'll send the message, receiver will receive the message, and next probable thing is I'll be telling him, the receiver, that I have already sent the message, you have not received. You should not do like that, okay, as a sender. The process of cracking that kind of activity is a non-repudiation, okay. So the sender should not deny or falsely tell that he has sent a data, he has not sent a data. You should be, as a receiver, you should be knowing that whether he has sent a data, received the sender has sent the data, like that. Repudiation, or the meaning, okay. Meaning of repudiation is proposal of idea or denial of the truth, okay. So denial of the truth should not be happen, comes under the non-repudiation. So next is under algorithms and keys, you will be having a restricted algorithm, okay. So if the security of an algorithm is based on keeping away the algorithm works a secret, basically everybody thinks that why we are worrying much about this, keeping the uh, information secret and all these things. Generally, if we keep the algorithm secret, it becomes a secret like that we may think, but in reality it's a falsy statement. Okay, in general, if you observe all the famous algorithm what we have, all are public algorithms. That means that everybody knows what is the how the algorithm works, but still they were not able to crack that kind of a message. That is the strength of putting the algorithms publicly. The another advantage is, like, so many will be trying to crack it, then you'll be knowing that it is not able to crack by anybody. Okay, if you hide it, somehow they'll take out that information. Okay, but they keep even though they share all the information as a publicly, but they'll keep the key secret. Okay, in that sense. So that is one of the myth actually. Large or changing group of users cannot use them every time. Yeah, this is one of the problem, right? In a restricted algorithm, like, if you think that, assume you have a 5 company. Okay, 5 company people are using one algorithm for securely transmitting all the messages between these 5 company. Assume that one of the company leaves your group. What happens? Again, you have to change the whole algorithm itself, right? So that is one of the problem, right? Because that person who left that group, he knows the algorithm, right? So if accidentally, if somebody reveals the secret, you should change again, you should change the algorithm. If any of the 5 company members in your group, if accidentally they reveal it, then definitely you should change it. Every group of users must have their own unique algorithm, right? And they have to write their own algorithm and implementation. Restrict algorithms are enormously popular for low security applications. So restricted algorithms are enormously popular for low security application, but these are all the problems in the restricted algorithm. So range of possible values of key is called as a key space. Here, so here, this is an example for a symmetric key. Okay, encryption, the same thing is there. Encryption of the message, you are getting a cipher code, but the extra thing is key. Decryption also, you are using the same key. That's why it's an example for a symmetric key. Okay, so here encryption as well as decryption, you are using the same key. Whereas in the public key or encryption, you'll be using 2 keys, key 1 and key 2. During the encryption, you are using 1 key. During the decryption, you'll be using K2. So that's why 2 things. So the first topic is related to the symmetric encryption. Okay, basic idea of the symmetric algorithm is nothing but, both sender and receiver will be using the same key. Okay, you'll send the information using the particular key 1, you encrypt and you will send it. At the decryption side, the person uses the same key and he decrypt it. Okay, also called as this is it's also called as secret key algorithm, single key algorithm, 1 key algorithm. All these are for symmetric algorithm. So this is what we know. And you know that symmetric ciphers and block ciphers, basically meaning of symmetric ciphers are nothing but these 2 things comes under a symmetric algorithm only. Here in stream ciphers, what happens is you'll be encrypting 1 bit at a time. Okay, 1 bit at a time. Whereas in the block encryption, what happens is you'll be encrypting blocks of data. You'll be maybe encrypting 10 bits, 50 bits, like that. Whereas in the stream cipher, you'll be encrypting 1 by 1 bit information. So public key algorithm is nothing but it's asymmetric. Okay, so you know that 2 different keys are used for one for encryption, one for decryption, but still they are using this common terminology K, basically because sometimes what happens is, some based on the application, K1 will be used as a send in the sender, K2 will be used at the receiver. Sometimes what happens is K2 may be used by the sender only and K1 will be used by the receiver. Because of that dilemma, they are using the common notation as a K. Okay, even though it's a public key algorithm. So as you understood that what is the meaning of cryptanalysis? Cryptanalysis is nothing but the person who attacks it. Okay. Cryptanalysis is a science of recovering the plain text of the message without access to the key. Okay. This is where, that's why we are doing encryption and all these things. This is the problem, right? So somebody wants to, get back so you will be encrypting and sending the messages, and somebody wants to get that message what you are sending. See it is since it's money related, okay, the security is that much big, okay, or the information carries that much money, okay. Even in the Flipkart or Amazon, assume that if somebody, if you try to pay to the Amazon, if it pays to someone, whether you use it, that kind of, so information, finally what you're using is, you'll be sending you're using that user ID, password, some information you'll be using, right? So information is a money. So this is it is also may find weaknesses in the crypto system. The attempt cryptanalysis is called as attack. So you try to break the algorithm. So you will be encrypting and sending the message to your friend. Somebody wants to try to break it, that encrypted or the ciphertext, that is called as an attack. Yeah. So fundamental assumption of the cryptanalysis: secret must reside entirely in the key. Cryptanalysis has complete details of the cryptographic algorithm and implementation. Okay, like these are all some of the assumptions. Sometimes what happens is some of the organizations like CAA and all, CIA and all, whatever the algorithm what they are using, they'll be giving to some group of people to attack that algorithm. Okay, they'll pay for those kind of people to attack the algorithm, basically because once if if your own people only try to attack the algorithm, what happens is you'll be knowing the weakness about the algorithm, then you'll try to correct it. That's why. Okay, so that's why. Okay, so one of the myth is that if you assume that if you don't share the algorithm to anyone, then it becomes a secret. That is a myth. Okay, almost all the time, everybody has broken the code. So these are the four types. Next topic is this: four general attacks of cryptanalysis attack. Cryptanalysis has a complete knowledge of the encryption algorithm used. So first one, okay, ciphertext only attack. That means that script analyst means attacker as a ciphertext of several messages, all encrypted using the same encryption algorithm. The cryptanalysis job is to recover the plain text of many messages as possible. So in the name itself, it tells that it's a ciphertext only attack. That means that assume you are sending information to the user. I am the attacker. So I'll be having only uh, I'm having only the ciphertext what you are sending to your friend. So that's why this is a ciphertext only attack. So the attacker will be knowing only ciphertext. Next one is known plain attack. The cryptanalysis have access not only to the ciphertext of several messages, but also to the plain text of those messages. Okay. So his job is to deduce the key and use to encrypt. So maybe what he does is he'll be giving, so assume that I am your friend. Okay. I am the attacker. I'll bribe you to use some of the ciphertext or the plain text. Okay. So that is meaning is I'll be knowing the output what you get from the plain text, and since I am only giving the plain text to encrypt, so I'll be knowing the plain text. So known plain text attackers, apart from the attacker knows the ciphertext, you'll be knowing the plain text also. So yeah, this is an example for a chosen plain text attack. The attacker will choose which plain text to use. Sometimes what he does is he'll use the big plain text, and he'll be using like uh, some of the things which reveals the key which is used, or some of the things which reveals the algorithm which is used, those kind of plain text will give bribe the particular sender, but sender will not help in giving the algorithm or the key to the attacker, but he only takes the money, and what he does is he just uses his plain text to send it, that's all. Okay, so this is a chosen plain text attack. You'll choose. So this equations gives a full detail about all these three. One is a ciphertext only attack. You can see that given will be C1, C2, C3 only. You'll be knowing the attacker only knows C1, C2, C3. What he should find out? Plain text P1, P2 or PI or the key or the algorithm which is used for it. So this is he has to find out in ciphertext only attack. He'll be knowing C1, C2, C3. Known plain text attack. See, instead of C1 with respect to the previous case, you'll be knowing P1 also. So C1 is a plain text, P1 is a plain text, C1 is a ciphertext. You'll be knowing both. What yeah, in known plain text attack, he has to find out key and algorithm. So since he knows this one and this one, he has to find out these two in known plain attack. Next one is chosen plain text attack. So here some of the plain text he'll be knowing, right? So some of the plain text he'll be knowing. So his idea is to find out the key, just like the second one. Next one is this adaptive chosen plain text. Not only can cryptanalysis choose the plain text that is encrypted, he can also modify his choice based on the results of the previous encryption. So he'll be having the choice, okay, to modify all the plain text, whatever is required. And, you know, so based on, see, what he's trying to do is the attacker will be knowing some means and ways. If you don't know what is the key and algorithm is used, you'll be using different pattern of the plain text based on the output. Whatever he receives after the encryption, he gives different, like that. It's adaptive chosen plain text attack. So that comes under this chosen plain ciphertext attack. Here the cryptanalysis can choose different ciphertext to be decrypted. Okay, so here, yeah, at the receiver, what he's doing is he is giving different ciphertext to decrypt it. Okay, so cryptanalysis has access to tamper-proof box that does automatic decryption. So maybe in an army and all, if one country is fighting with the first country is fighting with the second country, if uh, sometimes the second country, we may get the access to the decryption box which is used by the military. So that is this actually chosen ciphertext attack. Okay, so they'll try to deduce it. Okay, they'll try in the box. If they give the ciphertext, it gives the plain text. That information will be there. From that, he has to find out the key. That this attack is primarily applicable to the public key algorithm. Okay. Chosen key attack. The attack does not mean that cipher and cryptanalysis can choose the key. It means that he has some knowledge about the relationship between different keys, not very practical. Basically means, suppose if you are, one example I'll give, like if you have a, in what is the meaning of like some knowledge. So for that, I'm giving an example. Suppose if you are using English letters, 26 letters, the basic idea is most repeated words are A, E, I, O, U, right? So that is the some information you'll be having about the data which we are sending. But here you'll be having some information about the key in that sense. Okay. So Rubberose cryptanalysis. Cryptanalysis threatens, blackmails, or tortures someone until they give him the key. This is the most famous one. Using this, most of the cyber crypt attack has happened. This is the easy one. Okay, it's not a time-consuming process. Money will go waste, and the person who knows it, they may kill, like that. They blackmail, torture. These things will happen. So the bribe, they purchase the key attack. Okay, very powerful attack. Often the best way to break the algorithm. Most of the times it happens. Okay, most of the times it happens. Only when the country which is very small, you can't generalize that. But still, this is the most famous attack. Okay. Yeah, what is the meaning of rubberose is this? The meaning of rubberose is a flexible tube conveying the water. Okay, so that's why that is the meaning. This is the rubberose actually. Extraction of the crypto secrets from a person by torture, such as beating that person with the rubberose. So in that sense, they have given this word rubberose. Okay. Some of the things about all the attack, the known plain text attack, or the chosen plain text. Known plain text, andre, you'll be knowing the plain text. Generally, you'll be knowing the ciphertext. Okay, you'll not see. I am the sender. I'll be sending to you, the third party. That means you are sending the ciphertext. If third party comes in between, what he gets the ciphertext actually. Because if I know suppose Arshita is sending something to somebody, if I interfere, I'll be getting only the encrypted data. But if bribe Arshita, I may get some of the plain text also in that sense. Okay, in that sense, they'll get some of the plain text also. And chosen plain text attack means I'll be knowing some person who is sending the algorithm, but he doesn't give, that person doesn't give any algorithm or key to me. But what the favor he does it to me is, I'll give the plain text to him. He'll send that data because based on the what is the use of sending my plain text by the encryption, basically because after encrypted data is generated for my plain text, I'll be I can analyze what is the key pattern and what is the algorithm used, like that, because the plain text is given by me, so the attacker. Okay, in that sense. Okay, yeah. There were plain text attacks during the World War II. Okay. Mm, yeah, if you believe that keeping the algorithm inside the secret improves the security, that is very wrong. So many things that has proved in the algorithm, because see, you have to do the encryption. Only way what you can do is uh, you keep that whatever the encryption algorithm secret. That is the general thing that comes to our mind. Okay, but that is not the actual case. All the See, if I design the algorithm, if I give it publicly, I'll announce that this is how it works and all. And those kind of algorithms are pretty famous, and it has as nobody has cracked it basically. If you feel that you if you keep the algorithm safely, nobody will come to know, like that, then it is a myth actually. Yeah, that's why they keep best algorithms were the ones that are made public, attacked by the world best cryptographers for years. They are still unbreakable. Basically, because if you give the algorithm publicly, you keep the secret safely, right? Everybody will try to break it. Based on that, you can like that uh, so it will be in the outside platform. But sometimes if you don't give the algorithm to the outside world, what happens is assume that you created algorithm, you don't give anybody, you have a group of 5 people, you will be sharing that information. You may not, you will think that nobody knows about the algorithm, but somebody would have some people would have been advanced more than you. Then by means like that, they'll crack it. So many things has happened actually. United States broke the Japanese diplomatic code purple during the World War II. See, if I don't know how much you're understanding about the encryption, the intensity, suppose England, they want, they come to know about the attack by the Germany during World War II, basically because they crack it. See, assume that China is that information, assume that in India, all of a sudden World War started, assume that World War started, you'll come to know that China is going to attack from this end. That is a huge information. Then you can route all your army into the particular location and you can target. That information is very important. That's why uh, decryption, attacking of the cryptography, all these things makes a huge impact actually. Even NSA, national security agencies, like in US and all, what they used to do is, like, they'll be using some algorithms to send the messages, like our raw institutes, like they'll be using some encryption algorithm to use it. But what they do is, they'll hire some best attackers, okay, and they'll kept it secretly, and they'll try to they'll tell those people to crack their encryption. If they crack it, then based on that inputs, they'll update.
those kind of things always works actually. Either the public domain or these kind of things should be